Cross, quick pass for Aho. Sebastian Aho. Down low, bunting to Aho. Aho, up high. D'Angelo, back for Aho. In tight, bunting with a shot, scores!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? Jeez, procedure. Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down!
Chase for Stone, scores! Okay. Shea scores! Season openers.
Oh my God!
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Comic Sens podcast, episode 3. Finally getting in some regular season games. This is the third official episode and the first week of Ottawa Sens hockey for the 23-24 season. With me, as always, my co-host, Brett Chartrand. Brett, how's it going?
Hello.
How you been, man?
I'm trying to find new ways to say hello.
Well, this is week 3 of what might be a full season if we keep going with it. So if you're trying to think of a new way to say hello every time,
I'm trying to just find a catchphrase, something.
Yeah.
Just trying to, repetition is good. Yeah, I'm doing good. The weather took a drastic change out here in Vancouver, out on the West Coast. Just got really dark and misty and rainy, and zapped my energy a little bit. But luckily, it comes at a time when there's Sens hockey and baseball playoffs. So basically, just been watching sports, which isn't so bad actually. It's pretty nice.
Nice. Well, that's good. It's always great to hear that we have zapped energy when we head into the podcast. This is maybe we'll turn this into the sleep cast. My mom, who we'll chat about in a bit, just said that she cut off watching our podcast and said that she started episode 1, fell asleep, and by the time she woke up, it was halfway through episode 2. So the Comic Sens podcast, getting people to sleep. Love to see it.
Yeah, that's what, I'm hearing that like around the podcast world in Ottawa on Twitter and stuff. It's called, they're referring to us as the lullaby cast.
Hey man, these are stressful days. If we can help people sleep and give them nice cozy dreams, then we'll keep putting out pods because I got nothing wrong with that. So we'll lull you to sleep with our cozy voices and our tired eyes, and hopefully everyone can enjoy. You mentioned the postseason for baseball. Well, I have some news, Brett. The pod's on fire. We have a new sponsor for this episode of the pod. This episode of the Comic Sens podcast is brought to you by Blue Wave.
Whoa.
Mill Street Brewery Blue Wave Lager. So
Cheers
Blue Wave is a hybrid between a traditional light lager and a juicy IPA. This unfiltered lager is aromatic, flavorful, and crisp with a gentle haze and notes of melon, lemon, and lime. It's been brewed with the Blue Jays fans in mind as the perfect pairing for game day. So it pairs best with a ballpark hot dog. You know what? I was getting ready for the postseason. I picked up a case of Blue Wave, and I'm going to have it as my special treat for game days. So the next time you cheer on the Jays, make sure you pair it with a Blue Wave from Mill Street Brewery.
Yeah, it's perfect
quite
because,
good.
You might have to wait a few months for that.
Well, I went to the LCBO, and they had quite a few of these in stock. So let's give our boys a hand and clear some of the stock out with some Blue Wave.
Is on the clearance rack.
Some Blue Wave beer.
Oh
Thanks,
my
Jace.
God. How much money was wasted there?
All right, thanks to our sponsor, and we're going to get right into it. So let's talk about it. We had some games this week. The first 3 Ottawa Senators games. It's exciting. It's been exciting. I was able to watch them all intently. I enjoyed them. We're going to go one by one, get into them, get into our thoughts, our vibes, what we felt about them. So let's start with game one. The Ottawa Senators at the Carolina Hurricanes, October 11th. I don't know about you, but I had tempered expectations going into this one. First game of the season, you're on the road against Carolina, who, might be the best team in the NHL.
At home, especially.
All things considered, I thought they played okay. I thought Korpisalo started off really well. He was keeping the Sens in it. Maybe towards the end of the game, he fell off a bit, but by and large, I think it was a good effort. It was sloppy. There were mistakes, absolutely. But going against one of the top teams in the NHL for a home opener, overall, I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I wonder how the team is in the dressing room before this game. In terms of the schedule for teams for their first opening game, I bet the Sens had the toughest, almost like an automatic loss playing Carolina at home. After their team has been just kind of on the uptick for the past 4 or 5 years now. And I think the thing I noticed is that as good as the Sens were, it's kind of, a feeling out process for some of the lines, and they're not with Norris or Pinto was missing, so that the team looked different just like that. But Carolina is just relentless.
Yeah.
And I think if any takeaway that you could maybe have as the team is that, okay, this is what the team that we want to be. This is a model franchise and a model team, just how relentless and fast they are. I think if anything, they could maybe take that away from the game, that as good as they played and as good as everything was going for them, that, they didn't have that extra gear that Carolina has.
That's sort of what I thought. It was, a bit of a slice of humble pie. Maybe a frustrating game for some of the folks on the Sens who really wanted to get going off of game one, but the talk is playoffs, right? That's the expectation. Yeah. And to be dealt, like I said, a slice of humble pie, I think there's, maybe a blessing in disguise that your first game was against a tougher opponent. Yeah. But all things considered, like I said, they stuck with it. So Joseph getting us on the board, first goal. I was popping off at this one. It was so exciting to see the first goal of the season.
A few minutes in, it was fast, and everyone's kind of talking about Joseph, so it's even for him good to get on the board, kind of silence some people.
Yeah, things fell apart a little with 3 Carolina goals in a row, but then the Sens rallied and made it a game, tied it up in the third period, but then things fell apart and Carolina ended up putting it away. But like I said, all things considered, can't get too frustrated about this one. I think they put in a good effort. I have to say, though, my number one takeaway from this game was the level of fan overreaction off the charts. And for any fan watching this right now, it's okay. You can relax a little bit. You don't need to go crazy. Some of the things I was seeing online, and maybe it's my fault for going to the depths of Reddit and Twitter and looking at some comments, but there was someone who game one posted the standings
oh my god,
and showing Ottawa at the bottom of the standings, and unironically posting a picture of this and saying oh this is where we are, whatever. There's 82 of these games, game one, it's right. Okay if you lose it.
Yeah,
you don't need to go crazy. The other thing I was seeing was people demanding Tarasenko be traded. There was one person I saw saying the Sens just need to admit that it isn't working out with the Sens and Tarasenko. Get one game.
He hasn't even done an interview yet. Give him a chance.
This isn't working out. Everyone's trying to do Pierre Dorgan a solid and solve the cap issues and putting up Tarasenko on the block.
Yeah. And these are people that for sure have been watching Tarasenko play wherever he was before. I don't even know where he was. I know St. Louis and then New York or whoever else. It's they hadn't been watching him. They don't know. They just hear the guy and he's oh, he's not scoring 40 goals anymore or whatever. It's
yeah. This one is like take a chill pill. Everyone relax a little bit. It's one game. We don't need to fire everyone. We don't need to trade everyone. Let's take 10 games without overreacting. Maybe is that doable, fan base, to take 10 games without overreacting? I don't know. That would be great if we could just all chill a little bit.
There's just so much pressure.
I think there is, and I mean, it goes to show like the fans are passionate. They want to win, especially the hardcore fans who are posting on the internet. But I think at the end of the day, we don't need to overanalyze game one. It was a rocky start. If you take a few months off of work and then you go to work day one, you're maybe putting in 1 hour of solid effort for your full day. so
and the team is incomplete in my mind. Like they expected Norris and Pinto to be there along with Tarasenko and Kubalik and all these new guys. Like they were trying to add on to all this core that they had, and then two of the main pieces of their core aren't there. So it's not a complete team, which really is, I think, the story of like the start of the season for me is like, this isn't the team that they all expected. Team, fan, franchise, like, the players. Yeah. So I think tempering expectations because of that alone is a good idea. Like,
yeah, absolutely. All right. Any more thoughts on game one?
No, I think for me, it was exciting to see Korpisalo against such a high flying team. And like you said, he started off strong, and then it's so hard, like let's say Hurricanes go on a 6-game losing streak after this game, and then that makes the Sens look bad that they didn't play. And then they go on then they're first in the East by the end of it. And then it's like, the Sens gave them a good run at the beginning of the year, like kind of like last year when the Sens beat Boston and, Boston was the best in the league. It's like, it's kind of hard for the first game, it's like, it's hard to gauge who is where, but I guess we know the history of Carolina. So it was a good test, and they beat us fair and square. And that's the Sens just got to kind of try and reach their level for the rest of the year.
Yep. I hate the negative overreactions, but let's move on to one of my favorite things to do, which is positive overhyping the rest of the weekend.
That's what we're all about here.
Yeah. We're planning the parade. Game 2 on Saturday. This was a 1:00 affair. As a family man, this, I was nervous about this one. Well, it's not perfect because when you have kids to watch, it's hard to watch a game during the day. But
just having it on in the background,
Luckily, my beautiful wife took our daughter out, so I just had one kid to watch while I paid attention to the game. And
to all the wives out there doing the solid for the sports watching husbands.
Absolutely. This was a good one. Off the bat, you had the opening ceremonies calling all the players out. And then obviously you had the shout out to Alfredson, who's now part of the organization. You had the ceremonial face-off with Ann Lauer introducing him as owner, setting the positive vibes out the gate. And they just followed it up with almost a flawless effort. I mean, this one was fantastic. So winning 5-2 against the Flyers. What are your main takeaways from this one?
I think for me is the shots against is being that low is just so unlike the Sens of the past. Like, it is the Flyers, and who knows how bad they're going to be. But again, second game, you don't know all these things, and it's hard to tell. But it's kind of the game that the team wants to play. They want to be better defensively, and they want to capitalize on their chances. And I think good bounce back game after kind of leaving Korpisalo out to dry in the first game. I think to bounce back like this was much needed for the fans to settle back in.
So
there's 82 games, and it's not just gonna every game's not like the Stanley Cup.
I mean, bit of a hot take. I think the Flyers might be scrappy good this year because a lot of people have them
scrappy,
real low on their predictions. But Konecny was awesome. He had a great season last season. It looks awesome. Like he's going to follow it up immediately.
Always wanted him on the Sens, actually.
Yeah, there were some rumors about them bringing him over.
And I think the draft, he was like kind of around where they drafted somebody, and just Ottawa. He played for the 67s, I think, eh?
Yeah, and 2 points this game. Like that line was looking really good. Couturier back from some injuries had a real strong game. I thought good start to the season so far. Like I think. I'm not saying playoffs, but I think they're a scrappy good team. I think they're going to claw out some wins. I think they caught the Sens off guard a couple times. So they were decent. But I mean, the Sens, they ran with it. The Sens defense in this game totally took over. We have Jacob Chychrun, 2 goals. Sanderson got that slapper ping off the post and in. Beautiful goal. And then Brady finishing it off with 2 goals to totally ice it. This is just a fun one. You enjoy this one, put you on a high note. It was just a great one to see. Always love to win the home openers. And this was an awesome one to witness. So good all-around effort, I think.
Yeah, I was working this day. So I watched the first period and then took the bus to work, overtime shift, and I listened to it on the TuneIn radio app. On TSN 1200,
Is that a sponsor?
Yeah, TuneIn radio app. Get it at the Google Play Store. It's free.
There you go.
But yeah, I love listening to games on the radio. The Sens have Dean and Gore. They've been there since the beginning. Especially being out in Vancouver, I get to hear some just like classic old local radio ads that just kind of make me. I'm like kind of forget for a second. I'm like, oh wait, they're talking about the Ottawa store. Oh yeah, I'm listening to Ottawa radio. But it was you could feel the buzz on the radio too, which is cool that you can hear that. And I don't know if Jeff, are you like anyone? Do you listen to Dean and Gord at all ever?
I think I'm spoiled because I have so much access to watch every game. If I don't watch it live, then I could watch it on a replay or whatever. But you're making me nostalgic because when I was younger and I'd be too young to stay up and watch the full game, my parents would make me go to bed and I'd always catch the third period in bed listening to the radio. And I'm just thinking I'm picturing myself in bed. Maybe there's a stormy night going on. It's all dark and I'm listening to the third period. It's such a great feeling. I used to love doing that. Maybe one of these games I'll sacrifice and I won't watch it. And instead I'll curl up in bed and listen to it on the radio.
Yeah, put have maybe you're burping your baby a little bit, just have it on.
I mean, I speaking of, I would Dean and Gord. I would oftentimes mute the TV and try to line it up. Best as
I've done
good
the
so
same
I can
too.
Get the better commentary,
especially when it's on Sportsnet.
Yes, 100%. That's something that maybe I will do more often because Sportsnet coverage. Oof. We had that in a puck carry penalty kill. Shows you my appreciation for that coverage, but man, it is not good.
I think there's fans. I don't know. I thought Dean and Gord were beloved, but I read things online that people think they don't talk about the game and stuff. It's I think it's people don't get what radio is. It's these guys have been doing radio since the early 90s. Their idea of what radio is sometimes they do a comedy bit, so one of the things that I love is the puck goes into the crowd and it's he says Dean's oh, it hits Uncle Larry in row 3. It's just things like that bring a little color to the game. It's kind of almost like classic 30s radio because they got a bit of a straight man and a funny guy or whatever. It's I love it personally. I'll take them being funny and interesting, and even when they're Homer and they bash the refs, it's so biased. It's I don't even care. It's just a different experience. It's not oh, call the game. It's like, no, I'm listening for the radio broadcast to get that experience, you know?
You know, Brett, maybe this is old man Lamarca coming out, talking about fans overreacting. Maybe just people don't want to have fun anymore. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I guess that's
People
true.
are
Not to
just
get too deep
stressed.
about it, but like you have like instant analysis on Twitter, on your phone, up to date. People probably have the game on. They're probably following on Twitter and looking at the stats and stuff. It's like to actually just sit and
Yeah.
picture what the game's going on and listen to like two broadcasters call a game is a treat.
Yeah. If it were up to me, I would curl up on game day, I'd get a nice blue wave, and I would sip it down.
On the TuneIn radio app.
Listen to my favorite TuneIn radio app for Game 3 of the Blue Jays wild card.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, game.
Maybe not. Anyway, all right. Anything else to say about the Flyers versus Senators?
Nope. Just
It was a good one.
Yeah, fun game. Like perfect home opener for the fans. Oh yeah, yeah, I guess I was gonna say the other cool thing was Lyndon Slewage.
Oh, yeah, that was in my notes and we didn't cover it.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, Lyndon
That
Slewage
just-
coming out. It's one of the things that we had in the back of our minds is like, oh, what could the Sens do to sort of make some reparations or whatever? And we all sort of thought about it, but I kind of forgot about it for this.
Yeah.
And then he came out, and you're like, oh yes,
There were so many things. The list of lowlights for the Sens in the past 5-6 years that was one of them. You kind of forgot, but
yeah,
I think that was just another sign that Andlauer gets it. And he knows like what the fans want, and he knows like he's been saying that he's trying to follow the model of the Canadians with the history and stuff. And it's like everyone thinks like, yeah, okay, the Sens are a young team relative to the rest of the league, but like yeah, you can keep telling yourself that like, no, we're like 31 years old now.
yeah,
like,
exactly. Like 30 is like you're starting to get a history there, and it's like you said, it's fun to build off of that and reference.
especially
some of
the
those
older
things.
people who were fans of the Canadians or the Leafs or Bruins or the teams that they grew up, and then they move to Ottawa and they get a team. It's like they want to have good memories, you know, like they want to bring back the alumni and like the anthem guy, and like even just on like other levels, like local sponsorship stuff coming back, and like better experience at the rink and stuff is it's all so far so good with Andlauer in that regard.
Yeah, I saw on Reddit, someone had a post saying like, "Oh, could some older person explain to me who Lyndon Slewage is and why he's important?" And made me feel bad. But it's okay. We're not that old, right? I think
No,
right.
no, we're perfect. We're like in the age where we like our first team was them, you know, and then we're still young enough we're still young, right?
I'm happy. I'm happy that there's younger fans who don't know who
Yeah.
Lyndon Slewage was, and those TikTokers can enjoy Ottawa Senators hockey. So,
But
makes me happy.
that just proves that the years with Melnick near the end, he killed all that. I don't know why, but he killed all sense of like nostalgia, history, like the fans. It was just like try to get new fans with like a new gimmick here and there, but like he didn't keep any old fans. Like a lot of people who stopped watching because of exactly that. They got rid of Lyndon Slewage. I'm sure there's people out there that were like, oh, when they got rid of Lyndon Slewage, I was done. Like,
yeah, fuck it. I'm
that's
with
how
Lyndon.
important it is. Yeah, that's how important that stuff is to people, because it's like, why bother even watching if it's like erasing your history or whatever?
Yeah,
that's the fun part of sports.
For sure. One more note on Game 2 before we move on. Vladimir Tarasenko starting to show some flashes.
Yeah,
his
good playmaking.
His assist on Matthew Joseph's goal was awesome. I think drawing the play to him, Tarasenko's a sniper, but he drew the play to him. Didn't fake a shot, but certainly, made the defense think that, oh, they should be covering me. Passes over to Joseph. Joseph snipes it. It was great. I think this is our first glimpse of, okay, Tarasenko, we see what
He's
we're
a
getting
player.
here.
Yeah.
But I definitely liked what I saw there. So moving on then to Game 3, and I was at this game, Brett. Let me set the table here.
Okay.
Earlier this summer, I bought tickets to go to this game for my mom for her birthday.
Aww.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, like when I was doing it, it felt like it was a little bit of a Homer Simpson buying Marge a bowling ball thing where...
Well, if you don't want it, I know someone who does.
Like, because my mom used to watch hockey back in like the pizza line days when I was like at home, super into it, but has definitely trailed off. Probably hasn't watched the Sens. I mean, she said she hasn't watched the Sens since Alfredson retired, so definitely a long time. So I got her tickets just to have a night out with my mom and have some fun at the game. And we were lucky enough to have a conversation with her about her experience at the game. So let's cut to that, chatting with my mom about Game 3, the Senators hosting the Tampa Bay Lightning in Ottawa. So let's pass it on to that. All right, everyone, welcome back. And we have a very special guest on the pod. This is our first guest, actually, and I'm thrilled that it could be my mom. So welcome to the Comic Sense podcast. Denise, my mom. How's it going?
Great. It's my pleasure and honor to be here. Jeff, my son, and Brett.
Now, we have a very special reason for inviting you on this pod. So in the summer, we were doing some birthday celebrations. I decided for your birthday to buy you Sens tickets and an evening out for you and me to go to the Sens game. So we went to the Tampa Bay Lightning game last Sunday. Now, first question, what was your reaction when I bought you those tickets for your birthday?
I was surprised, but I was so excited about having an evening out with you. So it was great, to get to go to a hockey game. Wow, why not? Haven't done that in a long time. Yeah,
I figured it would be a bit of a win-win. It's always nice to spend time with my mom, but then to go to a Sens game, we get to have a good time. So maybe a selfish gift, but I thought it was a good idea. Now, you used to be a fan of the game, but you've taken a bit of a break. Do you have any memories of when you used to watch hockey and follow the Sens?
Well, I used to love to go to the games with the family, and I always managed to get tickets either through work or Christmas, or somehow we'd manage to go to the game. And those were the best times when we went as a family and, live, and all the excitement at the in person, I really enjoyed that a lot.
Mm-hmm. And any particular players that you used to like to follow?
Well, when I used to watch, it was the Alfredson era. So Alfredson and Phillips. And, when we went to see the game and they introduced Neil, Phillips, and Alfredson, I was over the moon with that, because that's really when I used to watch a lot.
Yeah, that was a fun surprise, Brad. I don't know if you're able to catch that, but the pregame ceremony,
I saw that.
They brought out the legends to drop the puck, and it was a real great surprise for us because, again, that's when my mom used to watch the game, was with them being the stars, and they had all their numbers in the rafters, so we could see the players down below doing the ceremony, and then look up and say, "Oh, those are the years that we were really into it at the time." So it was a special moment, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. It was very nice.
Now, any other big takeaways heading to the arena for the first time? We had a special pre-game ceremony. I think Brett would be interested about this one. Where did we go to eat?
Oh.
Yeah, I just want to know about the food.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to remember, Red Grill or Red Zone. I can't remember what it is, but it was a really nice restaurant, and the food was excellent. It was a kind of a menu where it was a fixed price, and you got to pick 3 items from the menu for that fixed price. So Jeffrey chose 3 items, and I chose 3 items, and in my opinion, it was delicious.
Yeah, I was under the assumption that it would be small portions, so I picked 3 large item things, assuming that I wanted to get, best bang for your buck. So I did chicken burger, calamari, and wings. And Mom, you did the ribs,
tuna tartare, and queso, some tortilla chips with a dip.
Yeah, and by the end of it, I was like
delicious,
stuffed to the brim, and I was saying I wasn't able to cheer for like the first period because I was so full. But I think probably the best way to go enjoy a game is go get a nice big meal right beforehand, right in the arena. You pay a little bit extra, but I'd say it's probably worth it for the comfort.
Make a whole night of it.
Exactly, make a whole night of it.
That was nice because it, especially driving there was very easy. You're early, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was great. So I did my best to give you a little bit of a rundown of the Sens maybe over the last couple of years, highlight some of the new players. After you got to see them play, any of the new players stand out to you? Do you have any new favorites that maybe you'll start following?
I like the captain a lot.
Yeah, he had a couple flashy goals, so I think that helped.
Yeah, but he just seemed very personable, and very skilled and energetic. So I really liked him a lot. And for some reason, Joseph came through, and he was a pretty good. He played quite well that night as well.
Yeah, so. My mom is now firmly on the don't trade Joseph train here. She wants to keep Joseph.
I know, but ultimately, I did like him a lot.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans are thinking that too. So
yeah, he's been making a good impression, and to a new or returning fan, it seems like he made a good impression on you. So that's great. Yeah. So we're just about wrapping up. Any other takeaways from the arena experience, or as a returning fan? Do you think you'll keep watching?
I think so, because I have to be honest. One of the main reasons for not watching hockey, I just thought it was getting too violent, and I found there was a lot of goons, and their purpose was just to really hurt the other player. And to me, the best hockey was always like the playoff hockey, and where there was less violence. And now it seems to be like that. It seemed to be like that on a regular hockey night. So, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I agree. That's sort of where we are, and it's welcoming to people like newer fans or returning fans like you, I think.
Yeah, because normally I remember a game where they just pounded each other in the boards, and they were, half the time they just barely get up. And
now the people would be cheering the person who was injured on the ice and stuff. I think there's less of that these days.
I really enjoyed the skill, watching the skill, with the skating, and it was a real pleasurable game to watch.
Nice. Well, that's great. Good to have another fan to add to the list of Sens fans. And hopefully, I think you just caught up to the pod. And hopefully you hit that subscribe button, and you're going to keep watching the podcast now too. If you need to stay up to date with the news, then this is your spot. As a returning fan, you could watch the Comic Sens podcast.
Yeah, so you'll keep us up to date on everything that's going on in the background, whether they should. You didn't say whether they should trade Joseph or not.
Well, you'll have to watch this week's episode to find out my opinions on all that.
Okay.
All right, one more question before we sign off, and I really just wanted to get to the bottom of this. So many years ago, when I was still living at home, my friends and I were having a bit of a party. And while you were out, I think Brett ended up skinny dipping in our pool.
No. I'll tell you exactly what happened.
Oh, no.
Why don't you take it from here, Mom?
You start blushing here.
No, we had a pool in the backyard. And Dad and I went to bed. It was late, so we went to bed. I had to get up in the middle of the night. I went to the washroom, and we have a big window in our washroom, and I heard all kinds of noises. So I look out into the backyard, and there's some guy standing naked in the pool. And that was you. Was it
Yeah,
not?
that was me.
So what happened? To my understanding, I wasn't there. Brett was alone. My understanding is you wanted to go confront this man who's naked in the pool. Now, what was going through your head when you were approaching that pool and Brett was standing there?
No. What?
Yeah, you went outside and you went and said hello.
No. What are you talking about?
I think I remember that part. Because you came up and you asked me if I was naked, and I said no. And then you came up a bit closer, and then I was like, actually, yes, I am. And I was very embarrassed.
All right, well,
you know how those houses are close? My good friend neighbor in back, she saw the same thing.
I heard that part too.
All right.
She thought it was hilarious.
Young Brett putting on a show.
We went curling after, and you guys were all there, and she says, I don't recognize you. You're all dressed.
So Brett has
that's how I'm remembered.
Brett has a bit of a reputation then from back in the day.
In the curling club.
All right. Well, thanks for that. I wanted to resolve some of this mystery here.
It was all fun. It was all fun. It was
good memories at the LaMarca household for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Mom. I really appreciate you being our very first guest on our show.
Yeah,
thanks for
it's great. Thank you very much.
That.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, take care.
Thanks for coming.
Nice to see you.
We'll talk later. Bye.
Bye.
All right, that was my mom, Denise. Thank you so much for being our very first guest on the Comic Sens pod. Brett unearthing some old memories there. What did you think of that?
Still blushing about that one.
Yeah, Brett.
That was great. Great to see your mom. I haven't really spoken to her. I saw her at your wedding a few years ago, and then before that, who knows how long ago. So yeah, nice, wholesome chat with our number one fan.
Well, it seems like you've made a lasting impression and made a name for yourself. But yeah, Denise, if I could say anything, she's always happy to catch up with my friends. Always happy to see them. Thrilled to be on the pod. Thrilled to be our very first guest. And I had a great time. I'll say this right now. Probably won't be the last Jeff and Denise Sens game this year. I bet you will buy tickets for another one. We had such a good time. It was great to go with her. It was great to go to a game.
Maybe a Jeff, Denise, and George.
No, too young. Maybe next season. I think
some headphones.
No, I think he would just lose interest, and it'd feel like I'm wasting money.
Around. Even watching the game.
We're gonna start off with the 67s maybe for George. I think that'd be a good first entry level. But I did buy George the Spartacat plushie, and when I came home, I gave it to him, and I said, "Oh, Spartacat bought this for you."
Spidey Cat.
Yeah, Spider Cat. He bought this for you, and he wanted me to give it to you, and he it's his new favorite toy. He absolutely loves it. It's adorable.
Yes.
It's 100% me trying to indoctrinate him and like get him into the Sens. But he's really into it, and it's.
Does he like hockey though? Like, do you think does he show any interest to like skating or like?
So we have like a net
it when it's on.
We have a net in the basement and some mini sticks, and he's a 2-year-old, so his attention span is all over the place. But every once in a while, he'd be like, "Oh, let's play hockey," and we'll shoot the ball into the net and that sort of thing. I think, come next year, it'll be a real good age. He'll be a lot more into it, depending, or he'll have the attention span to get into it.
That's win the cup, and it's just big in the household.
Exactly. I think that the more that I talk about it, which I talk about it quite a bit right now, maybe he'll be interested, or maybe it'll just completely turn him off and he'll never want to go to a game at all. Only time will tell. So we'll see. But yeah, I was at the game with my mom. We went to the Red Zone before the game, enjoyed some dinner. It was really great. And then the game itself was awesome. Ann Lauer came out with a nice ceremonial puck drop. He had all the retired numbers and Frank Finnegan Jr.
That's
Frank
amazing.
Finnegan's
That was
son.
that was really cool for me. Like
It was a great piece
that's
of history there.
so new for the Sens, like to bring that back, because that's like hockey Hall of Fame stuff, you know.
It was awesome. I mean, I couldn't help but think like, oh, is Andlauer just have like a room of students just thinking of like all these ideas to like win fans back, and are they running out of ideas? Like, what else do they got
just
here
go
for
on
ceremonies? But
read Sens Twitter and
yeah,
like, what do this fans want?
who else are we missing? But it was good. Before we get into the game itself, the other takeaway from being there live, the hype guy, and I forget his name, but I'll find his name.
I saw the notes, and I think I missed this on the broadcast.
I don't even know if he was on the broadcast because I didn't watch the game broadcast, but the hype guy that they have in the crowd, frankly, he's going to put Spartacat out of a job. He was so entertaining and so good.
Did he have a lot of t-shirts?
Yeah, he like wore like 10 t-shirts at a time, and he'd whip them off and throw them into the crowd.
So when I was listening on the radio, they mentioned him the game before, and I think he started in Ottawa. We should look this up because I think he started in Ottawa, but then he got so big in Ottawa as this thing, he like became world renowned in sports that he would travel around, and he starts wearing like 30 t-shirts, and then he rips them off and dances and stuff. I think this guy that's maybe that's Andlauer thing, bringing back the hype guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Maybe he gets paid, and Melnick cheaped out on the hype guy too.
We're doing it live right now. I picked him up. His name is Cameron Hughes, the Sens super fan. Again, 10 out of 10 would bring me back to a game. That's awesome. Got the crowd. It was a Sunday night dreary weather game, and he brought the crowd into it every stop. He was dancing his ass off, throwing shirts, doing the wave, getting into it. Like I've been to many games, and this was like the first time that a hype person in the crowd really got everyone going to that degree. So like, hats off to Cameron. Maybe we'll get him on the pod one day. I'd love to have Cameron on the pod for an interview.
Do you remember an old hype guy at the Sens? I think his name was Johnny Shaka or something like that. Do you remember him?
No.
He would come in during like the stoppage of play, and I can't remember what the music was. Maybe it was like violin or like just some beat, and then he would dance up and down the steps.
Yeah.
And he would like do the splits on the steps. Like he would jump down a few steps and do the splits, and he was dancing. And he was there at every game, and it'd be like, 2 or 3 minutes of just him dancing and getting the team hype. That's also something missing. Hype man at the games.
I mean, that's one thing that Cameron was doing, and I was like wincing thinking about, oh my gosh, he's gonna miss a step and something's gonna pop out. And, but he brought it and he nailed it. He didn't slip whatsoever. But yeah, that was just want to do a shout out. It was good stuff. Good job. But to the game, again, what can you say about the effort here? The shots were 38-24. The Sens dominated. Like Tampa had their chances. Tampa did not look good. It wasn't even a goalie thing, because the storyline for Tampa this season is Vasilevsky's injured. They have to play their second and third string and whatever. That wasn't the main issue here. I think Tampa overall, I mean, Stamkos was out, which, you could say something about that, but overall did not impress. They did not look good. I think if Ottawa is going to steal a playoff spot, I mean, Tampa is prime picking for one of those teams that they could steal that spot. The Sens dominated front to back. A couple of defensive lapses, unfortunately, led to goals. But, by and large, I had the full confidence the entire game that the Sens are going to pull it out. We had Vladimir Tarasenko right off the bat getting the first goal as a Senator, first goal of the game. I had actually there was a competition that the Sens Twitter ran saying who's going to score the first goal of the game. And I had guessed Vladimir Tarasenko and sent this out. I'm still waiting for my prize here.
Jeff Tradamus or
still waiting for my prize. Have not received it yet. Maybe they picked someone else.
Jeff Dramatis. Jeff Dramatis.
It was great to see. I mean, he had a great game. It was great to see him get on the board. But I think big story here, Brady again running with this one, getting some big goals at the right time. Great showing from him. What did you think?
I know we were talking about the Sens, but yeah, the Lightning, I guess everyone kind of was talking, the decline was coming, and like if Cirelli is your best player, they're gonna have a rough year. I think you feel bad. I always like Tampa, I like their players. We have a good friend who's a fan, so he cheers for the Sens when he's not cheering for Lightning, so I kind of do that same. I don't hate them, but yeah, kind of a sad showing by them. Brady. I think for me, the takeaway is seeing Stützle get pretty frustrated, and I think that was kind of the talk on the broadcast too. Was that he had 90 points last year. Everyone knows he's the superstar of the team. He gets the team going, and he's getting targeted a little more, and he seems to be getting frustrating and yelling at the refs. Like, kind of reminded me a little bit of like Crosby when he first came into the league, when he started getting like targeted right away, and he was really young and kind of whiny. Like, I think maybe Stützle, I hate to say it, but he might get that reputation around the league. Not so much as a whiner, but like just falls a lot. And I'm not saying he's a diver. I'm not saying that. But just the way he plays very passionately. He's really intense, which works when, things are going well. But when they're not going well, personally, I love it. So I'm not saying he should change it. I love that type of player. Like, that is a good player. Yeah. But what my takeaway is that Brady taking the heat off of him, scoring 2 big goals for his line mate and best friend. It's like, who cares if Stützle is on the score sheet or not? It's Brady kind of took and then that's the type of goals that Brady's going to be scoring all year. Like,
I will come to Stützle's defense here. It was like a series of plays where like he did get like blatantly tripped and there was no call, and then he got a roughing penalty, which was like definitely not a roughing penalty. And I don't know if he has a reputation with the refs or whatever, but like, he's a young kid. He's gonna be frustrated by stuff like that, and it's totally fair. He's playing an intense game, and like you can get frustrated by plays like that for sure.
The only explanation for why he's getting so frustrated, I think, is the refs. He maybe has a reputation with the refs, like maybe the diving thing is just kind of like spoken about, and I don't think he dives. Like, I think the way he plays is I don't know, like a baby gazelle or something, like he's just kind of going full force, and if it means he's falling, he's falling. So, but maybe the refs are trying to like, I don't know if the refs teach players a lesson or what, or try and just like, his like, hey, there's a reputation that you have around the league with the refs. I don't know. That's the only explanation I have, because those were egregious calls that they missed, and then pretty soft ones on him. So,
I mean, the other thing I'll say about Timmy, like, he got 90 points last year under the radar, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's not under the radar anymore. So players are going to be on him this year. They're going to put some pressure on him. They're going to make it hard for him. And he's going to need to figure out how to overcome that. And like you said, Brady, the perfect line mate to help him overcome that stuff. Like, and Brady's Giroux not going to take any shit. For sure, Giroux not going to take any shit.
Because you could see it in the game. Giroux was chirping with players, and like, he's a pretty serious guy, and he doesn't like get involved in things that he doesn't need to. But like, I just, the like temperature of the game, it seemed like Brady and Giroux noticed Timmy getting frustrated, and they were like, you know what? Okay, now it's our turn to like, we'll go cause some scuffles in the corner, and like Brady scoring 2 goals, like so then, and then if Tim doesn't score or if he has a bad game, it doesn't even matter. So it's like you're right, but 2 perfect line mates for him to like kind of settle into the league as a superstar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on the third game of the season for the Sens?
Yeah, good that Tim got one at the end. That's just, I think, a fun thing that he got one, kind of finish off the game. Korpisalo played really well. He only got 24 shots, but yeah, I guess after the first game, it was nice to, I don't know, you could overhype it, but I think it's safe to say that the Sens have a really good tandem, really solid. He looks solid and calm, which I think is my standout for Korpisalo. He's really calm back there.
Yeah.
Like, he makes like pretty solid saves. He's not flashy.
He instilled confidence. I mean, there was one goal I would say from the Carolina game that was real soft, but I would say otherwise, like, I have confidence in Korpisalo. I feel like the team has confidence in both goalies.
Yeah.
And I think he really showed it here. He made some flashy saves when he needed to, some big saves. And I think maybe with him and Forsberg, we'll add some consistency in net, which the Sens have been lacking. But I thought it was real good. I was happy with what I saw, and looking forward to more starts from him. But it was some good stuff.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so if we're ready to move on, Brett, we have a new segment that we want to chat about.
Yeah, I love new segments. Bring on the new segment.
We're calling it the weekly pump and dump.
Yeah.
All right, so what we're doing
into the
here.
Stock market now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stock market thing, I guess, but the idea is each week we're going to talk about what our weekly pump is and what our weekly dump is. For the pump, it's what we feel is the highlight of the week, something we want to bring attention to, something we were happy about, and then obviously the dump of the week. Brett, I'm sure you have many dumps of the week, but this is like a dump in particular we want to talk about. Maybe a low light, something that not so great, kind of a shitty situation maybe.
Who you pumping and who you dumping?
Who you pumping and who you dumping? So, Brett, my question to you, who you pumping week 1?
I'm pumping. I know we kind of talked about him a little bit from the first or the second game, but Chychrun. I'm pumping Jacob Chychrun. I think it's kind of what everyone expected when we traded for him. You can kind of forget about the end of last year. I know some people are saying like, oh, if he stays healthy, he's the number 1, but like, I don't know. I don't really care about the health part of it. I'm kind of over it. I'm just excited that like we have a number 1 guy to take the heat off of Sanderson and Shabbat. And he seems to like, yeah, he's way more dominant than I expected to, you know, like I didn't watch many games. I didn't watch any games. I didn't even know how to pronounce his name when he was in Arizona. And then when he came here, I think it was just kind of settling into a new team last year, and the whole family thing was cool. But this year, he's already dominant. Like in the preseason, there was like games where he was like the best player on the ice, and he was just like, the puck was always on his stick. He was like, there was one overtime where he was just like, had the puck on his stick almost the whole overtime. And yeah, once the season started, we have like a nice, legitimate like shot on the power play now. Like you have to watch out for his shot. He's lethal shot. He's big guy. He's scary looking. He can play minutes. He's tough. So yeah, I think this is just an absolute win and steal from Pierre Dorion that we got him, and I'm just excited to just see the trickle effect for the rest of the defense too. It just bumped up the D core by 100% in my books.
Yeah, I mean, last year I think they had him like on the third pairing for pretty much his entire tenure that year. Just put the feelers out on how he could fit in, but like this season, starting on that first pairing with Shabbat, like you said, he in preseason and for the game in the game against Philadelphia, single-handedly like won the game. Like he can win a game on his own, which is nuts. Like all due
It's like
respect to
Hedman.
Shabbat,
Like
but
you
like
could kind of like compare him to Hedman a little bit, like, you know, or like Makar. Like I'm not saying he's like that level, obviously, but like that's the teams that are winning, you know?
exactly, and that's something the Sens have missed. And now we have arguably three defensemen who, in their own right, can single-handedly win games. And and Chikrin, the game against Philadelphia, won that game, getting the first two goals there. So I totally agree. That's a great pump. The thing about Chikrin is that, like, you see him, and like you said, he's just this big, intimidating person. Like, I picture him like he's 10 years older than me, but
I thought he was 38 or something.
He's like 10 years younger than me.
He's born in like 1999 or something.
Yeah, and he's just like carrying the team. Awesome. Love to see it. Like, love to see it paying off. And like, I really want him to flourish this year. There's been a lot of chatter about him and Shabbat sort of struggling because Shabbat's playing the off wing. You let that simmer for a bit. You let it play out. I think we have a lot of time for them to get used to one another and play with each other. So there's no rush at all on that one.
And then Shabbat, like, he's got to change his game a little bit because like that's
going to take time. It'll take time.
He was the quarterback and he was playing 35 minutes. So like, you know, he's going to be playing less minutes to like, he just will have to like know when to pick his spots a little more instead of like just being on the whole time, you know, like he'll have to like, just get the rhythm of a player who plays a bit less, which probably will take, a few games for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. I want to hear about your dump of the week. What's your dump of the week?
Okay. My dump is the Norris situation. TM Norris situation. I think for me, it's just the last little bit of the stale Sens that we've been used to for the past few years. It's just the last. I guess you can kind of link Pinto into there, but you know, things happen with Cap that, you know, we got good players because of it. Like Tarasenko is there or whatever, but yeah, just the whole Norris thing of like what's actually happening. This player is saying the players think he's ready. The management says this. The team thought he was going to be playing. The media saying this. They see him here playing, practicing. It's kind of just like the Sens of old where you can believe anything you're reading. You're getting jerked around as a fan. And like, it's hard to say what's happening there. So I just think for me, that's my dump of the week because it just kind of as this is still going on, it just kind of leaves a bit of sour taste that you can't really be too stoked on the season, you know, like who knows how long this is going to play out, how messy it's going to get, if Pinto's going to get signed, all this stuff is like, it's just a bit of a red flag for me for the rest of the season because you want to just be excited for the games. But if it gets messy, maybe that leads to like team chemistry breaking down a bit. And then, who knows from there.
Yeah, I mean, I got an opinion about this one. Josh Norris is signed for like 7 more years.
True.
I think people need to chill the fuck out about like when he's coming back. Because I rather him have a nice healthy 7 years than be rushed back and ruin his career. So I think I'm okay if they take their time. They're winning. They won a lot of games last year. They almost made the playoffs last year without Josh Norris. I don't want to see him ruin his career and get rushed into it. And like the amount of pressure on this kid right now is insane. So I think it would be fair to take a step back and not put so much pressure on the situation. I know it's like we want to see him come back. We're excited to see it. I'm excited to see it. It sounds like it might even happen this week. But I'm okay if they take their time with it because I want him to have a healthy season and career, and I don't want to see game one some disgusting injury. So I'm
for
okay.
sure. And I think if that's what they're doing, and they're just taking their time to make sure he's healthy, and like, even now, like if they get a couple more wins and they like, you know what, maybe it'll take a little bit more time just because we're winning without him. Like, fair. If that's what they're doing,
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. I'll stand behind it. But like, for me, it's like triggering for me, the wishy-washiness with the media and stuff, and you don't know what to believe. Like, is it a thing because of the Pinto situation? Is it a cap thing? Are they putting on LTIR? Are they telling him he's going to play and then saying he's not? Like, it just is a little reminiscent of the years past that, the Sens were kind of known as like toxic organization, like Melnick, and how much of it was Pierre Dorion and this and that. So you don't want to believe all that stuff. So just that it's happening, you can't help but believe it,
Yeah, I think the messaging has been rough, and maybe in retrospect they could have been a little bit more clear with the messaging or more withholding in some situations. But like, it's hard to do that stuff, and I think everyone is excited to see him back. But let's not rush him. Like, we have a good team without him.
Yeah.
We're gonna be better when he comes back, but let's have him back healthy. But I agree. I'm frustrated too, totally. But let's be patient here, fans
Jeff,
overreacting.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Who you pumping and who you dumping?
I'm pumping Vladimir Tarasenko. I had this in I think first episode of the pod. I wanted to see him come out strong. One of my fears was if he had a slow start, it could be a bit rocky. The fans would get impatient, all this sort of stuff. We saw after game 1, he didn't have a good game and people are saying to trade him. I'm pumping him because his game 2 and game 3 were awesome. He looked like a superstar. He looked like he is like, I don't want to say shades of Giroux having like a, second career, like as an older player, but maybe as an older player, we could see like shades of Giroux and Tarasenko being like, okay, I'm
for sure.
And he's not even as old as Giroux, but like, I still got game in me. I can still play. And I think he's showing that. And I was super excited to see it. He like, if we're going to say like the best player of the first 3 games, that would go to Brady probably, but it's not about that. This is who I want to bring some spotlight to. And I definitely want to bring spotlight. We know that Brady's going to have a great year, but to me, it was important to see Tarasenko come out hot, and he had an awesome couple games there. So I'm pumping Tarasenko. When Norris comes back or Pinto or whoever, and he gets like a centerman who can really help him flourish, I want to see some more of that. So that's who I'm pumping this week.
The other stuff too is like all the interviews, post game, everything. Like, I actually have a friend who is from St. Louis. He's a big Blues fan. I messaged him after the 3rd game. I was like, really stoked on Tarasenko. He's on a line with young guys, and I just kind of asked him what he thought about it all, and he said apparently there was like rumors of like character issues in St. Louis and stuff, which like I don't see how that. Everything he said, he's like a family man. Like everything he's been saying is like how much fun his kids are having and how awesome Ottawa is, and he's like always smiling and just seems very excited to be playing. So that's just a good sign for me that right off the bat before he even plays. So, he's comfortable here. Yeah. And then, I think you nailed it with the Giroux thing. He's playing on a line with 2 young guys that like are Joseph. He's not, maybe his like ceiling isn't as high, but who knows where Ridley Gregg's going to go. But like, perfect guy to have on that line to like, keep him young. And then also, just be the wise older guy on the line that apparently likes to talk about. He likes to analyze the play a lot. He's very like, he's been giving them advice on things and stuff. So when
Pinto comes in, I could see them being a real good pairing. Pinto at center and Tarasenko on the wing. I think that's gonna look real good when that happens. So that's my pump. But I'm ready to dump.
Let's hear the dump, man. Leave me the dump.
My dump of the week. I really wanted to make it the fan overreaction because I just hated to see all the hot takes that were garbage hot takes after overreacting game one. But I have to do the first week dump on Pierre Dorion. In an earlier pod before the season started.
I was the apologist.
No, me too. I am an apologist, but that was before the season started. It's starting to drag now. It's getting a bit ugly. The crowd, how is it going to be every single home game? We have a "We Want Pinto" chant going on. I think Dorian needs to sort of make his mind up here. He has to make a decision. He can't do Pinto dirty all season, so it needs to happen at some point. It doesn't look good. As much as you want to defend him, as much as you want to say he has all the leverage in this situation, it still does not look good when the crowd is chanting, "We want Pinto." He needs to make a decision here. He needs to bring the kid in. The fans are throwing out ideas of who it should be, and maybe I'm not going to weigh in on that right now. But regardless what it is, I think Pierre Dorion needs to do something here and make a call and make it happen. Just so we can feel comfortable going into this season, right? Of like feeling, okay, this is our lineup. This is who we have.
And the season's already started. It's not like it's going to creep up on 10, 12, 15 games. And like the same. Yeah, I totally agree. And like, I suspect this is going to be his last. This is his last hurrah.
It doesn't look
no
good.
Matter what happens, if it's successful, like they could say all they want, like, but when Steos came in, it was like, oh, like we just extra help for Pierre. And then Pierre was like, said he was even begging for more help, which like, yeah, of course. But I think it's going to be Steos' team soon enough. I could see that happening.
At my job, when I'm talking to my boss, hemming and hawing over a decision or whatever, my boss just says, it's your call, but you got to make it. You can't sit on your, you can't sit on it. You can't whatever. You just got to make the call.
He knows this is like making a break for him, I think.
Yeah. Pierre,
the pressure is on for him, and he's trying to make the perfect move. And, maybe he has it in him. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have it in him. It could happen. But the league knows the situation they're in. So they're not going to, like, do us any favors, trading us, letting us just trade somebody and not asking for this or that or whatever. But, like, I don't know.
He'll have to swallow his pride a little bit, but
exactly. And then that's not something he does. I don't think that's something he does.
All right, we're running long here. I don't want to make this a huge 2-hour long episode, so let's move on from the Senators. I mean, overall, I was stoked with the first 3 games. I'm looking for more. I think Wednesday they're gonna slaughter the Capitals. Looking forward to that for sure.
I want a big open ice hit Brady on Ovechkin, and that'll set the tone.
End his career.
Yeah.
No, we don't want any more of that. We're not. We don't want the violence on the ice. That's what Denise said.
No. Clean hit. Just 2 big bodies hitting. They both get up and smile and love each other.
Before we send off, just a few thoughts from around the NHL. Brett, in your hot takes of the season, you said Connor McDavid would demand a trade this season.
Tick tock.
I prepared something for you, Brett. We have the Connor McDavid demand.
Hell yes.
Demand a trade-o-meter.
Oh my God. Look at that face on the right. He looks so depressed. That's him right now at home.
This face right here is when he was first. This is when Edmonton won the lottery.
Traded.
So when he knew that he was gonna be an Edmonton Oiler, and the face on the left here was the happiest face I could find of Connor McDavid.
Much happier.
This is if you search up happy. Search happy Connor McDavid. This is the best you're gonna get on the internet.
Get that man out of there.
So we had a game 1 loss of 8-1, and a game 2 loss of 4-3. The Oilers are playing right now as we speak, and I won't look up the score, so maybe things will change by the time this pod is over. But based on week 1, Brett, where do you think the McDavid demand a trade meter is pointing to?
We're at code red.
Code red.
It's too early to be like demanding the trade, but I think he went into the season being like, yo, whatever his name is, Rutherford or some other old ass guy that just ruins the whole team. Like, hey, yo, Kevin Lowe, you've had such a shit team for 25 years. Oilers have done shit, and you got this lucky, like, golden egg of a player in me, Connor McDavid. You've done shit all to do it. And yeah, code red, I think. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. Like, no one wants to play in Edmonton. This is gonna be me. Every time they talk about it, it's just like a travesty. And it's happened in other sports. Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, 2 of the best players of all time, never played in the playoffs.
Hate to see it.
McDavid obviously has made the playoffs, and they're contenders on sheer will of him and Draisaitl. But like, it's just a travesty to be on such a crappy team and such a crappy organization.
Yeah. I had in our hot takes, I had said that Edmonton potentially candidate to win the cup. I kind of regret making that prediction. I had said I felt like they had made improvements to their defense. They had an up and coming goalie that could maybe resolve that issue, but not
to open the game, to open the season. If they lost like 5-4, it'd been like, oh, what a battle. It's like, you never know. Like the Sens and Hurricanes, it was a close game. And then it got away from the Sens, but like 8-1 against the Canucks, who were like going down last year. And then, they got a new coach and they came back. Good for the Canucks to like take it to them. And it's like, yeah, like hopefully it's a learning lessons for the team, the rest of the team, to be like, wow, like we can't take these teams lightly. Like we're not the contenders we thought we were.
Yeah. So
and I just think like who knew that a good goalie is what you needed to win hockey games.
I think there are rumors that Edmonton's maybe linked with Linus Ullmark of Boston to get a good goalie their way. I don't know. We'll see how it all pans out. They're gonna have to give something up to get that. So
trade McDavid to Edmonton, and then they might actually be good with Draisaitl and a good goalie.
Brett, I'll call it right now. Nugent Hopkins for Ullmark. Boston is
done deal.
Boston is starving for a center. Nugent Hopkins
replaces Bergeron a bit.
Nugent Hopkins. Just gonna look this up here. Last season, it's gonna take me a second to find last season's stats.
Let's say
here.
He had 100 and something.
He got 104 points last season.
No,
is that the quietest 100-point season a NHL player's ever had in their career?
Yeah. And that he doesn't play on a line with them, right?
No. So he's probably had power play time and whatever, but I could see them making a bold statement, doing like a Nugent Hopkins for Ullmark, a center for, because Boston needs
that's
a center
done
bad.
deal for me. That's done deal for me.
It could happen. Nugent Hopkins, he's 30. He's not a spring chicken.
He's a small dude. He's like Giroux, like he doesn't age. Like those types of players, they don't play a physical game. They're crafty, they're shifty, they don't get injured. Like Giroux's not injured often. Yeah. I think Nuge maybe had injuries in the beginning because he was kind of small, but I think he's got he's like Bergeron. It'd be a good replacement. Yeah, good. That's a good idea. Nuge for Ullmark.
Calling it. I said it first on the Comic Sens pod.
We're breaking news here.
Oh, I'm like
facts only.
I'm an Elliot Frodman calling it.
I'm Rod the Bod McLean.
There we go. All right, moving on again. Let's try to wrap this up here. I had a couple of thoughts from the first opening weekend/week of the NHL. I caught a couple Maple Leafs games. I'm not going to dunk on the Maple Leafs every week, but I will say, whatever Austin Matthews 2 hat tricks in a row. The Leafs defense looks bad, like real bad.
What do they got down there? Is like Klingberg? Yeah.
Klingberg, the new acquisition. I mean, yikes, big yikes there. I feel like they are starting to get nervous after that Chicago game, but it's not looking so good. Obviously, they have the offense. I'm not going to deny that. But the defense is something that I would definitely be worried about if I were a Maple Leafs fan. I mean, hey, if the Leafs and the Oilers meet in the Stanley Cup Finals, it's going to be like 10-10 hockey games going on because a lot of issues there on defense.
Yeah, if I was you, that's a good point. You're like worried for me, if I was a Maple Leafs fan, I would absolutely just hate my life. So I think you should decide to cheer for a better team, and they're just terrible. I think the 2 hat tricks that Matthews got, they were like, he cheated, like in some way, like he's just, they don't count to me, they're just like.
Man, the Leafs are already 2. They did 2 coaches challenges on offside goals this season. So
they're
far.
Cheating. They're cheating. That's what they need to win a game.
They're nailing it.
You remember,
so far.
Man, something that makes me laugh so much is like the game that he put his first NHL game against the Sens. He scored 4 goals.
Yeah.
And that no one ever brings up that they lost the game.
I mean, Sens fans bring it up every single time.
No, but there's like, I saw a thing on Reddit. Some guy had like 4 goals, Matthews like license plate or some shit like that. Like, and then like on Sportsnet, they show like, memorable moments in Leafs history, 4 goals first game. Like, if you lose the game, it doesn't. Who cares? Like,
I think
what a pathetic franchise.
They went all in on offense and like the Sens last year were all in on offense, but it's the defense and the goalie that sunk them last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Who's in nets for the Leafs? So is that
they have Ilya Samsonov and Wall.
And then Raycroft's the 3rd string, I think. Eh? They got Potvin. Maybe Dwayne Rolston will come out of retirement. Show him a thing or two.
They're emergency goalies from the stands. But
David Ayres. Get David Ayres in there.
No, they wish. That would be the best goalie of all time. I wouldn't be confident if I were a Leafs fan right now, I'll tell you that much, especially after that Chicago game. Did not look good. Max Domi does not look good. Sorry.
The fans are confident. They think they're the best team ever, and then that's the best part, is that they're just going to be disappointed again and again and again, and that's why they need to just suck it up, change their team, just stop cheering for Toronto teams.
Yeah. All right. We've been told that we run a little long. People don't want more than an hour. Well, look at us. We're going way more than an hour. But let's call it here. That's Comic Sans week 1 of the NHL season, episode 3. Thank you to Denise, my mom, for being our first guest.
Thank you,
lovely.
Denise.
Thanks, Brett.
Hi,
as
Mario.
Always. Mario at home. Maybe saw him in the reflection there. But yeah, let's watch some more games.
Can't
I'm looking
wait
forward
for the
to
next
hearing
games.
more.
I'm so excited for the season. I just can't wait for all the storylines to play out. Get Pinto, get Norris in there, get the real team on the ice, and let's go, boys.
All right, we'll see you next week. Date TBD because we have no idea. We figure it out on the fly, but we'll see you then.
Yeah.
Give you weekly pumps and dumps, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.